Hi, I'm Steve Plum, Editor-in-Chief of SME Media. I'm here today with Will Healy from Teradyne Robotics. We're at Manufacturing Technology Series West in sunny California. You spoke today, kicking off the conference. First of all, how long you've been coming to this?
Man, how long have I been coming to this? West Tech, Aerodep, many. I don't think I could count.
Yeah.
So many I've forgotten. Is that a good enough answer? I think that's good.
The industry's changed in that time. What are some of the big things that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the start of my career 25 plus years ago, we weren't connecting things to the internet. We weren't talking about big data or analytics. We were just talking about please do something automated. Yeah, and I think we're still doing that. Please automate something, right? And that's a little bit what I talked about today. But a lot of what's changing is, I think people are really starting to hear that and starting to act. And it's not just the large accounts, it's the small and medium-sized folks. It's, the 50-man shop or the 10-man shop. The technology's finally getting approachable enough that these levels of organizations, the high mix, low volume, that kind of got left behind in automation, the technology's really getting to a point that they can automate, where it wasn't viable or didn't have a good return on investment before.
Well, Universal Robots, now part of Teradyne, introduced the first cobot at an SME event, I believe 7 years ago or so.
I believe that, I would absolutely believe that. I don't know what it is. I've only been at UR 3 years.
But collaboration's big, and not only among people, but also machines. How is that changing?
Yeah, I think more and more you're seeing how can the automation and the worker work together in the same space. There's a lot of study that shows when we have automation and worker collaborating together, the human doing what the human does best, and the automation doing what the automation does best, the repeatable, the dull, the boring, the dangerous, the hazardous kind of tasks, that we actually get the best of both worlds and we get the most productivity possible out of our people as well as out of our equipment.
One thing when you were talking today, you seem to shy away from a few acronyms.
Yeah.
Like IoT, the internet, or Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
But the one that you grabbed onto was the one that's really hot.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
How is that changing the world of manufacturing?
It's funny you say that. I called out, all this buzzword bingo that we kind of play in industry and we like to use. Industry 4.0 was a government initiative out of the European Union. Smart manufacturing and IoT, a lot of this stuff came out of universities and research organizations. But what we're seeing with AI and why I'm so interested in talking about this is because it's coming from the manufacturers themselves. You're seeing real implementations, seeing real ways that folks are playing with this and using it and really gaining value from AI in a way that I feel like the Industry 4.0 and the smarts and the IoTs and those things, because they weren't led by manufacturers, because they weren't led by the industry, they struggled to get adoption. I feel like AI is getting so much adoption so quickly.
Right. Because
it came from industry. Do you know what I mean?
And the panel today had different experiences with AI. Of course, the software guys, Google Cloud, and the quoting guy.
Paperless parts.
Paperless parts. We're all using it. The industry mature was not using it, but he works mainly with small and mid-sized companies, so it hasn't really gotten down there yet.
Yeah, I would say really only recently. In the last, you can measure the timeline in months, not years, right? I feel like the technology is only recently getting here. But the trick is AI is moving so fast that your ability to detect risk, your ability to understand how ready it is for you, it's not gonna work because our caveman brain moves too slow for that, you know what I mean? And so the real trick is AI is becoming approachable for SMEs. And I think it's becoming approachable for them in a couple of ways. When you look at folks who are small to mid-sized shops, you're seeing vision-based tools becoming very realistic. You're seeing quoting tools becoming more realistic. You're seeing technical support tools becoming more realistic. So thinking about not only on your production or shop floor, but also how it's having impact in your equipment, how it's having impact in your business and in your what I would say commercial side of your business, not necessarily your production side of your business.
So you did throw out another another buzzword.
Okay,
today,
let's hear it.
collaborative automation.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, so collaborative automation is this idea of, we talked earlier a little bit about how technology and the people work side by side and work together, right? And so I see two big places, and they're places that Teradyne has specifically invested in, and that's the collaborative robot and the AMR, the autonomous mobile robot. And the ability to safely have this automation working around people is really important, right? And so if you look at a fork truck's one of the most dangerous things in a plant. And so, these are flying around our facilities, moving material, but we have to have them because we have the material movement that has to happen in our plant. And so the ability to automate the material movement and make it safer and yield more to the human beings in the environment is something that's really fascinating, I think, and is really becoming more and more mainstream. I was listening to a podcast on my drive here today, and they were talking about that exact thing, that AMRs are really at the point where people should be looking at this and figuring out how to adopt this material movement technology in a way. It's available now, and it's available to small to mid-sized folks.
So we have two more MT series still coming up.
Yeah.
I don't think that the industry is going to change that much in the next 2 weeks, but what are you looking forward in the next year or so?
Yeah, I think, looking into the MT series, what we're doing this week and what we're doing in the coming ones, what I love is I'm sitting down with a manufacturer, a local manufacturer in each community, and asking them how are they working with automation. So tomorrow we're meeting with West Coast Manufacturing, and they're right here, 15 minutes from Anaheim where we're standing in Greenville. I'm going to be talking to Monty Inc., and they're in Greenwood, not too far from Greenville in South Carolina. And so being able to talk to local manufacturers and talk to them about how are they doing it, I think what's really important is people need to hear the stories from other people. They need to hear the stories from people that are like them in their communities. That's how we learn, right? It's kind of like we're opening the door of the factory next to them and kind of sharing what's going on and how they've been successful. So I'm looking forward to that. But even longer term, what am I seeing? I'm really looking forward to getting rid of the dull, boring, terrible jobs. The jobs that are turning over every time. Every time a plant manager walks through the plant and a different body is sitting in that chair right there, that's not a job that people want to do, obviously, if you have this high turnover. And the technology is really just here now to be able to automate some of these really dull, boring, repetitive jobs that have been hard to automate in the past.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to your next presentation.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Thanks.